On this slide, I am going to review how we solve two-step equations. So the first one is just a basic two-step equation. All right, I always use a do and undo chart because it helps me keep straight which order I need to undo my operations in order to get my x isolated, which means all alone. So I want to remove everything from x. I also remember with equations that whatever you do to one side of an equation, you need to do to the other. I sometimes draw this line to make sure that I remember to do things on both sides. So first I look at what is happening to our x. Well, I know when a number and a variable are next to each other, it's multiplying. So the first thing that's happening is multiplying by 3. Then I subtract 8. I know that when I do these things, they're usually going to appear in the order of operations because that's how we do math calculations. All right, now I'm going to go over to solving these equations, or this equation. So I solve by doing all my operations in the opposite order. So instead of subtracting 8, I want to add 8, and so instead of multiplying by 3, I'll divide by 3. It's important though that I do these in the opposite order. So the first thing I want to do is add 8 to both sides. When I add 8 to a negative 8, that just goes away. So I'm left with this 3x on this side. 13 plus 8 is 21. And let's put back in that equal sign. So 3x equals 21. So I added 8. Now I need to divide by 3. Divide by 3 on this side, and whatever you do to one side, you need to do to the other. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so my x is all alone, and 21 divided by 3 is 7, so my answer is 7. In the next problem, it's still a two-step equation, but it actually has one extra step, and that is using the distributive property. And like we reviewed earlier, the distributive property means you take that number on the outside and you multiply by each number on the inside. So I show that multiplication with these two arrows. So I'm going to rewrite this side of my equation. I'm not going to multiply the 25 by 5 because that's not inside the parentheses. All right, 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times 3 is 15. Those equal 25. Now I'm going to fill out my do and undo chart. First, I multiplied by 5 and I added 15. All right, undo with opposite operations, so subtract 15 and divide by 5. All right, my first step will be the bottom one because I have to go in the opposite order. Minus 15, minus 15. 15 minus 15 is 0. My 5x now is all alone. 5x equals, well, 25 minus 15, my 5 minus my 5 would give me a 0, and my 2 minus 1 would give me 1. So 5x equals 10. Well, I'm not quite done. I still need to divide by 5 on both sides. So divide by 5, divide by 5. That gets me my x all alone, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. So notice, after we distributed, it's the same exact steps as we did up here. All right, this last one is a two-step equation with combining like terms. Well, like terms are a number or a variable that can be added. So like 8x and 3x, those can be combined because they're like terms. 4 can't be combined with that because they're not like terms. When things have the same variables, they can be combined. And when we just see numbers, those can also be combined. So I like to show like terms by circling things that are alike. And I always take the sign in front. I also see a 4, and that has nothing that it can be combined with. So I'm going to put it in a different shape. So when I combine an 8x and a negative 3x, that will give me 5x. And like I said, the 4 can't combine with anything. So the 4 just comes down. And now I'm back to a two-step equation that looks just like that first one. So let's start by doing a do and undo chart. First, I multiply by 5. Then I add 4. To undo, I will first subtract 4, and then I will divide by 5. All right, like I said, my first step, oops, sorry about that. My first step is subtracting 4 from both sides. 4 minus 4 is 0. I'm left with 5x equals 20. And then my last step is to divide by 5. Which will leave me with x equals 4. And that is my final answer. On the next slide, you will be solving equations, and you can always come back to this slide and rewatch this video if you need some help.